Today we have Miss Samra Khan, who is a practicing psychologist, to answer some important questions about mental health during the second wave of the pandemic. I welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
To dive right in, my first question is a bit cliche, but I think it's very important. How important is mental health in the pandemic?
I think you've actually asked and answered the question yourself. Mental health is exceptionally important, and we are all going to be kidding ourselves if we think that COVID-19 is the only pandemic going on. Mental health is the pandemic that is simultaneously on the rise, and we all should take notice of it. A lot of people are suffering through a lot. People have loss of various degrees right now and experiencing loss like we have never experienced before at an individual level, at a society, at a community level. So I think it is exceptionally important and we must stand up and take note of it. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. During these difficult times, we've seen an incredibly staggering mortality rate. The amount of deaths that have happened in this wave are unprecedented. So, a very important question I would like to ask is, how does one deal with the loss and trauma that comes with the passing away of loved ones during the pandemic?
Okay, this is definitely a tricky question because we are not experiencing death only at an individual level. We are also experiencing it at a community level. All the
Yes,
people that I've spoken to, I don't think there is any individual who does not have a person or know a person who's not lost somebody to COVID-19 in the pandemic, in the second wave, right? But having said that, loss of life of or loss of a loved one is still the same, pandemic or no pandemic, right? You're still experiencing the same
yes,
trauma you're still experiencing, except that with the second wave there are so many other factors that have joined in. They died not because of the virus but because of lack of medical facilities, the way
yes,
the cremation happened or the lack of spaces for cremation, and the kind of struggle the family members had to go through. So that trauma is a very separate story. But where it comes to talking about how to deal with it, we deal with that loss by just accepting it, and that acceptance won't come as easy like it would come on a regular day, because you understand, okay, my grandparent was sick or this person was sick. People of every age group is dying, every social class is dying, people are in shock what's going on, and people are dying at a rate that we are not used to this kind of loss as human beings, right? So I think we have to stop rushing to a goal, to a goal post also. Oh, now something bad has happened, so let me just accept it and let me just process it. That's not how it works. It's going to take time. It'll take time for every individual. It'll take time for journalists, for medical officers, for doctors, for nurses, for people who are doing social service, even for people like you, right? You guys are doing such incredible work, trying,
thank you so much, ma'am.
even as students trying to put out whatever you can to help even one person. And I'm sure in that process you're coming across information that's just not okay, and it's
Yes,
really something. So it'll take time. I can't expect that, Manan, today you've read so many problematic articles, now wake up tomorrow and be happy. I can't expect that of you. I think time is something that is supposed to be on our side. At some point we're supposed to take our time, we're supposed to allow everybody to grieve in the manner that they want to. Right now people don't even understand that they might need to grieve because somebody's lost somebody, but now they need to protect another member in the family. So the situation is very dire. But the thing is that acceptance will come, it'll take time, it'll be very, very problematic. We don't only need to heal at a individual level, but we also have to heal at a societal level. And I think for that a lot of support is going to be required. People need to come together, and I think they are coming together in such a way. But I think we'll have to keep coming together so we can provide a helping hand or a loving note to somebody to tell them that we understand, and it's happened to us also, and we're together in this pain. I know it sounds very, very cliched, but that's what human beings are all about, right? We have to
yes,
tell
ma'am,
each other we,
absolutely.
that's how people are getting through this, because strangers have got the backs of other strangers, otherwise there's no hope.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
think that's the only way to give ourselves time and to realize that everybody will have their own pace and their own way of dealing with grief, and this grief is not regular grief. So we'll have to sit down with it and let it happen, and the acceptance come in at a time when it does come organically. I don't think we should create a goal and say, oh, I need to finish it in 1 week. That's not how it work at all.
Yes, ma'am. That's a very nice point. That acceptance, first the first step to getting over this trauma is acceptance. Because I personally know a lot of people who have not been able to accept the tragic death of their loved ones because it's sudden and it's unfair. But given some time, we can heal, and together as a race, together as a species, we'll probably heal one day from this pandemic.
Correct. I hope then too.
Yes, ma'am. So my next question is how to not let the pandemic get to your head. It feels like,
Okay.
yeah,
Hmm. Hmm.
it feels like anxiety is in the air we breathe. It is spreading from person to person, just like a virus. How can we as young adults deal with this anxiety?
Uh, that's a very relevant question, Manan. People are anxious, people are panicking, and all over the country, not alone, all over the world in some sense now, but in our country especially, and in Delhi especially, right? And people are despondent. There is no hope. People have become absolutely helpless and hopeless, but we still need to process it, right? Because there is no moving forward without actually accepting and understanding that this is happening. It's a reality that is unfolding before our eyes, and there is absolutely very little that we can do. Whatever we can do is figure out if there's oxygen, help somebody chase down a lead, find somebody a medication that they require, or help somebody get in touch with the doctor, or perhaps donate if we are privileged enough to give or spare some money. But as young adults, I think we have to understand that despite that this is the pandemic and it is so ferocious, right? It is at its peak and it's killing people left, right, and center. But despite the fact that it is a pandemic, life is still continuing,
Yeah,
right? People are still continuing to live. So let's understand that this is, but we have to demarcate this. This is not a regular day. This is not a regular year. This is not even 2020. It's far worse. Right
yeah,
now, I'm recalling all the memes on Instagram that they would say, "Oh, January 2021, things will be fine." And I'm like, "Oh, that meme did not age well at all, because clearly things are not well right now." But the thing is that we have to put our head down. We have to find one thing that we can do. I think I don't know what inspired you to do whatever you are doing, but I think you wanted to make a meaningful contribution to the
yeah,
whole thing, because it's difficult to sit back and watch, especially
yeah,
when you have certain kinds of privilege that, okay, I have at least technology, or I have at least money, or I have a skill set, or I can speak to people, or at
yeah,
least I have a social following, right? So I think young adults, if they have the possibility to, it's not a compulsion, but if they want to, I think to find a meaningful role in this whole chaos is really going to significantly help them make sense, right? I want to give you a personal example, but I do not know if that's going to make sense. A lot of people were feeling extremely despondent and helpless, but all of us sat down and said, okay, what do we do? And somebody just randomly said, listen, I think I can procure a little oxygen for some people. And we all jumped at the chance,
yeah,
because like, okay, now we know what to do, right?
yeah,
Because in that situation, otherwise you wouldn't know. And otherwise, young adults and especially students, right? Exams that are happening, not happening, you're getting
yeah,
fired from a job, not. Just put your head down and understand that this is not the time to run the rat race of being the best and the most notorious student or the person in the world. If your employer is saying, oh, I want to be kind to you because this is the pandemic, but is still calling you at 7 a.m. to do work, ask them to calm down. Ask your teachers to calm down. Don't want to submit an assignment, don't. Because frankly, whatever you're learning right now, just being a part of the pandemic, is more than enough. It's a lifetime worth of learning how to deal with it, how to deal with uncertainty, how to still keep your head above the water. I think no degree is ever going to be able to give this to you. Not that you deserve this education. No, nobody deserves this education, but now we have it,
yeah,
right? If you don't want to do it, don't. You want to Netflix and chill, please do it. If you have the privilege to keep curl up in your bed and just sleep all day and just ask somebody to get you food, please go ahead and do it. I don't think this is the time to run a productivity race. I don't know why our society is so stuck up on productivity and the kind that they want, right? Earlier it was like, oh, you were going to school or you were commuting to your office, you were making 10,000 photocopies. All of that was just random work, but it
yeah,
felt like you were being productive. You can read a book, you can do your work, you can put your head down, you can concentrate on one thing, you can concentrate on keeping yourself all right throughout the pandemic, and you would have saved the world a lot of misery. You would have done the most heroic thing ever. So I think young adults need to understand that they could probably identify a meaningful tasks that they could add,
yeah,
or how they could contribute, or just put their head down, be kind, even calling up your friend and saying, hey, are you okay, or how
yeah.
are you feeling? Well, it's an act of heroism. It's a heroic act right now. it's heroism right now, if you really look at it, right?
Yeah.
So just being able to tell anybody, or just just teaching anybody how to use the social media, or informing somebody, okay, go get yourself vaccinated, or perhaps telling anybody how to, buying somebody an N95 mask, or telling somebody how to keep how to be well sanitized. I think all of this is what we're doing, what we can do and what we should be doing, because 30 years down the line, everybody who survives, we're all going to look ourselves in the mirror and ask, what did we do at a critical time like that? We're all
Yeah.
at a precipice as a society, right? And we're all going to turn back and say, what did we do? And it'll be a very shameful thing to say, oh, I didn't do anything,
Yeah.
right? And there are million things we can do. We don't have to go and fight a zombie attack, even if it feels like it. We can still stay home and protect somebody. We can get vaccinated. We can call up somebody and say, listen, take your space. Or, call your friend and say, I know you can't do your assignment. Something has happened at your home. I'll do your assignment. Give it. I'm sorry. Maybe some teachers won't like it, but just do it. Do what works for you. It's all right. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. This is some very fascinating points. I honestly love the idea that even I got into COVID Connect with like the other team members. We all had personal reasons. Like I personally had COVID, and when I got over it, I was like that I had a lot of problem during COVID. Getting like that time we were focusing on Fabiflu, so there was a lot of problems. So I felt that nobody should, when they're sick and running 103 fever, why should they be looking for this? So honestly, I completely understand your point of being focusing on something, demarcating your life, and being there for each other. It's very important in this time.
Sometimes the solutions are very simple. They don't
Very
have to be
simple.
complicated. Yes.
Exactly. The in continuation to this question, we are in a very terrible situation. How can we be there properly for someone who is A, either struggling with the virus, or B, has a family member or maybe a best friend who's struggling with the virus, or who is generally down? Because we all are facing the brunt of negative media or people dying around us. Even that is becoming a reality at this point.
Okay, that's a good question, because it's easy to just talk about, oh, we should be doing this, but how, right? How do you
Yeah,
manifest that and how do you implement that? It's very simple. And I think we as people, we are very quick to say, oh, I know you're going through a problem and I want to be there for you.
yeah,
Please don't say it. First of all, I know everybody is going through a tough time. You say that, Aman, and I'm going to be there for you, then I must show up. Then I must be
yeah,
consistent with my support. My support means absolutely nothing without my consistency and my actions, right? So if your friend is feeling low, have a call, do a joint Netflix session, send them something from food, essential services are on, send them some baked goods. I don't know. Have a call with them. Some people can't do that. Some people can't afford to do those things. So perhaps,
yeah,
but your friends on Instagram definitely is going to be a part of the class that may be able to do that. So maybe, yeah. Right? If there is somebody who's going through a loss or who's going through, I think you can, right now there are so many leads, so you can be the person that, okay, you're sick, you don't need to verify all of these leads, we will do that for you.
yeah,
Cut down their work, identify where you can step in and actually take a chunk of their work and do it for them.
yes,
Because if your intention is to be there for them, then your intention should be to make their life easy. You make
yeah,
their life easy by doing things that are creating their life problematic. So help them get medication or help them get on with the doctor. They don't need to be calling 10. Right now what's happening is everybody is very great in helping, but they're sending you 10,000 leads, and some
yeah,
of those leads work. So if you're sick, if your friend is doing all the verification for you, your life just becomes like 100 times more easy,
more easy.
right? So I think we can do that. We can check in with them. We can plan something with them. You guys, there is this thing that's happening. People over Zoom are doing reading sessions because
Yeah,
you don't want to be looking at the news outside, so you want to be reading something else. So you've picked up a comic book or a thriller or
yeah,
anything, and you're reading it together. And please cut down from the news a little bit.
yeah,
Identify what you want, because yes, so much we want to do. We want to help everybody. Let's understand that we are all human beings and we cannot help everybody. You help one person productively, that's more than enough. That's more than your share, right? And you may be able to help 5, 10, 20, whatever. But I think not at the cost where you become dysfunctional or you are unable to make a productive contribution. So know your limit and say, okay, I need to go back and recharge, and I'll come back to social media after 24 hours, and then I'll look at it, I'll read the news, then maybe listen to people who do a version of less dramatic news,
yeah,
maybe only, maybe that's a good point
yeah,
to take care. And I think just emotionally being there and just telling somebody that actually you're not alone, I'm here, and checking on them regularly, and just telling them that I'm here will not make a difference. But if you call them every day and you say, oh, this person's actually calling me for 4 days, is actually asking me how am I doing, is cracking a joke, is making the effort to tell me something, oh, you know what happened in New Zealand, going to
Yeah.
make them feel better. I think these are the little things that we can do.
Honestly, this is really great advice because right now, as you very correctly pointed out, we all want to be there, we all want to help and want to say, oh my god, I've been there for my friend. But what ends up happening is, oh, I forgot, oh, I didn't check my phone, or I was like, oh, I was busy. So that's
And that's a
something
bad
you
look.
should avoid.
That's a bad look, because then you just disappoint an already disappointed person.
Yeah, exactly. And even with the verification, I think that's extremely relevant. Like, honestly, that is something which was our original ideology when we started out this project, that for senior citizens, like I remember one of the first distress calls we ever got was from like an old woman who was looking for a bed for maybe her husband or someone she knew. But how is she supposed to sign up on all those plasma donor websites or call these helplines? She cannot. She is anyways panicked. It's not her health doesn't permit her. So this is something I feel all of us should take up as a responsibility. It's fine if the authorities don't provide it, or if we are not able to do it, we should be there. We should find a way to make life easier for those people who have been affected by this virus. So one question one question I would like to ask is about pandemic guilt. I'm hearing this phrase again and again in different places, and it's fascinating me. So what is it, and how does one deal with it?
Okay, I think pandemic guilt can have many phases. How I understand is some people are also feeling like, oh God, we are too privileged, even
Yeah,
within the pandemic. Or sometimes people are feeling like survivor's guilt. You've heard of survivor's guilt. Oh,
yeah,
it happened to them, it happened to me, or I could have done more. I should have done more. What
yeah,
if this would have happened? I think there are various iterations of that guilt, and everybody is feeling it differently and to a different degree. I think we all have to understand that we did not do anything wrong, right? Of
yeah,
course, except the part where we have to take responsibility for not wearing masks. But when
yeah,
it came to trying to save people, we did our best. Strangers did their best for us, right? And we
yes,
did our best for our strangers. We made ourselves available and our specific skills available in the time of need when we could. The thing is that the system has failed, and that it's very controversial because of the country doesn't want to agree with that. But
yeah,
we have, the system has failed, the medical system has failed, the government has failed, right? And unfortunately, that guilt doesn't belong to us. It belongs on those institutions, right? We did everything, but once you lose a loved one, it's like, oh my God, I wish I had taken them to that hospital,
yeah,
right? Oh, I wish I would have given them that doctor's prescription. But the thing is that in that moment when the person was alive, you took the decision that you thought best in that moment. And we
yeah,
have to come back to that and realize that you did the best you could do. There was
yeah,
really nothing more. Unfortunately, sometimes your best is not enough.
yeah,
Sometimes the right thing doesn't look like doing the right thing. Sometimes whatever happens, your best does not get you the results that you wanted, you were so desperate for. And that is a very difficult reality to come to terms with,
yeah,
but it is the reality, right? And in retrospect, we can keep going into circles and say, oh, I wish I'd done this, oh, I wish I'd done this, I wish I was positive in front instead of my father,
yeah,
or I hadn't gone for that trip or whatever. But in that moment, you did what you did,
yeah,
right? You thought best for the treatment, and you ran from post to pillar. Your friends did, everybody did. So
hmm,
I think what we can do is try our best.
yeah,
Beyond that, we are not in our control, and we will have to come to that understanding every now and then. We will have to continue to tell ourselves that, look, we did our best. And right
yeah,
now in this situation, I tell somebody who's lost a loved one that you did your best, they'd probably want to slap me, and I would understand that. Yeah. But in due time, maybe they will have that acceptance, and they'll be able to say, okay, at least I got them a hospital bed at a time
yeah,
when nobody could get the hospital bed, or at least I got them the oxygen.
yeah,
But that guilt, whoever's feeling that guilt, let's understand that guilt doesn't belong to us.
yeah,
It's not rightfully ours. It is somebody else's. It belongs to other institutions, and it should be vehemently placed on them.
blame us.
And because this is a loss of the society also, I think as a society we should come together and hold people responsible, because this is a catastrophe that has happened. And I
Yes,
don't want to mince my words, because if at a time like this people mince their words, then who are we as people, right?
yes,
So there are people who are responsible, and they should be held responsible for this, because whoever you
yeah,
are, buddy, guilt is not yours. You did what you did. and you did the best you could do. Sometimes it's just not enough, and it's heartbreaking.
It is truly heartbreaking. I have to say that is a very powerful statement, that to deal with the guilt, you have to realize first that it's not yours. One last thing that I would like to ask you, which is something, okay, can we come up with an convenient guide for someone who, let's say, has contracted the virus or is dealing with people around them having the virus, to keep fit, keep healthy, and keep sound in their mental sphere during this difficult time?
I think number one, follow your doctor's prescription. Do not look at WhatsApp forwards, right? Keep the
Absolutely.
sanitization. Keep isolated. There are a lot of people who are getting entangled with a lot of fake WhatsApp forwards, and it's probably creating problems. The more you're physically ill, the more you're going to feel mentally pressured. So, follow your doctor's advice to the last T. Stay indoors, isolated and sanitized completely, so you do not feel under pressure that, oh, you might transmit the virus to somebody else, right?
Yeah.
Take your medication on time, eat well, but also remember that this is a virus that you can fight,
Yeah.
right? This is a that you still have the ability to fight, right? This is a virus that also existed in 2020, and most people were able to come out of it. Right
Yeah.
now situation, I'm hoping the situation is getting better, because I don't know the statistics as such, god knows what to believe, but at least there are more medication, more beds, more oxygen available, so help is out there. Even if
Yeah.
there isn't, civil society is out there to help you. That's one, let's remember that. Then let's understand that we should have a will to get better,
Yeah.
a reason to get better, no matter what it is, no matter how hopeless you're in a situation to, because that is, because we keep saying that there is light at the end of the tunnel. We
Yeah.
have to visualize that light in our ourselves,
Visualize.
because if we all visualize it, how are we going to get there? And once we do get there, how are we going to realize, oh, I'm at the end of the tunnel, right?
Yeah.
So let's have a hopeful mindset that once you get well, what are you going to do? Why do you need to get
Yeah.
better? Do that. Let's understand that you're sick, but it doesn't mean that you can't do things that are fun. You can
Yeah.
sing, and you can watch Netflix, and you can talk to your friends, and you can sleep,
Yeah.
right? And do many things. You can just relax,
Yeah.
and really try to rest up as much as possible. Let's do things that, because for you, Manan, things to make you feel better, you might want to read a book, but
Yeah.
maybe you're sick, you can't. So you'd be like, okay, I'm just going to plug in some music. For me, it would be like,
Yeah.
oh, I just want to have a conversation with my dad, because only that helps me,
Yeah.
right? Whatever it is, if for everybody, identify what your comfort mental health activity is. Like,
Yeah.
if there is a comfort, let's get to that. Let's have friends and family there. Let's keep our communication strong. Let's understand that we may be isolated in a room, but it's a matter of time that you get out, and also, if you when you once you get well, you'll probably be able to save somebody else's life with the plasma you can donate. I
Yeah.
don't know, there's controversy on plasma donation, but at least you'll be helpful in some sense. So let's
Yeah.
have that mindset, because let's remember that this is a pandemic, but life is still going on. You're still stronger than the virus. I know it's so cliched, but so many people are recovering, right? There are more people who are recovering than there are dying, right? Despite the fact that there are many people who have passed away, unfortunately,
Yeah.
but we still have a fighting chance, and we have to not give up. We have to not give up,
Yes, ma'am.
and we have to remember that we are stronger than it. And once we have that, we have a better chance against the virus, right?
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, ma'am. It's honestly been a pleasure talking to you. And all these tips, I'm sure, will help everyone who is dealing with this very difficult, catastrophic, apocalyptic situation that has descended upon us. And I hope we all get out of it soon, healthier and better for the world. So, to conclude this interview, I would ask you, what message would you like to give to people like me, young people who are dealing with the pandemic? One short message.
Young people out there, I think I'm incredibly proud of you lot. Right? I'm not 60 years old, but I'm still incredibly proud of you people. Like, I don't know if age has anything to do with it, but because you guys are really showing up. Like, you guys have really, really, really shown up to the party. Like, the younger generation has just entered the chat. They're like, wait, you guys can't handle this. We'll handle this for you. Like, you're figuring out the leads. You're helping people. You're sending SOS calls. You're making sure you're not sitting back. Like, as a school student, you guys have a free pass to not do anything, but not one single person I know has been laid back or said, okay, this is not my responsibility. So I think you are you're just phenomenal people. I am incredibly proud to know many people like you. So, and it's great that you guys are now going to be the future very soon. So I'm very happy that things will get better, at least eventually, at least by the time you guys
Eventually.
come in. So yeah, so thank you for actually having me. Whatever I've said is something that I feel convincingly about, but I'm going to be open to criticism and feedback. If anybody anything to say to me or teach me something, I'm here to learn.